at TechEd, there was all kinds of slots because TechEd busted out into the dev TechEd. And,
right.
And isn't PDC for the devs? What is with the devs at TechEd? This is our show, IT Pro show. We don't ask for IT Pro stuff at PDC. Yeah, I know you can't say. I don't understand why. Anyway, so because there was a lot of slots, I asked to do this. And Mark Pennarosa, who was the fellow who was the security, unfortunately, he just left Microsoft. He's a great guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hire Mark if you run across hire Mark. Pennarosa is a great guy. Anyway, so I said, could I do this talk? I said, it's a little iffy because, and you let me do it. And third best attended last year, Microsoft. And by the way, that's on top of running it twice. Microsoft filmed it. It's on TechNet Spotlight, as a matter of fact. And it astounds me. But I only had like 30 minutes to do Kerberos. And on towards the end, there's and this is how you do logs, there's a thing called token bloat, and there's delegation. I'm like, I want to fill those things out. And I thought, well, maybe I can do 75 minutes. 120 slides later.
Wow.
And so this year I pitched a Kerberos-only talk. And I knew a lot of this stuff, but I hadn't really ever stretched it out. And to tell you the truth, I finished the talk 4 o'clock in the morning yesterday, before I was going to do the talk at 8:30. So, you know how that is.
I do.
You build them. You have 120 slides. Can I do 120 slides in 75 minutes? I don't think so. Got it down to 100. I reflowed it. You know how you go back and it makes it flow better? I was so scared. I probably sweat a gallon of water while I was doing this talk yesterday. I figured I'd be talking to myself at 8:30, but the crowd here is great.
Amazing.
They absolutely are. And it's funny because when you go into TechEd, I don't know if you experience this as an internal speaker, but I mean the TechEd show people. God bless their hearts. They're always like, must do this, or we're kicking your ass at it, must do this, and you're lucky to be here. And I'm like, but you get here, and the people are just delightful. They're so wonderful. I mean, I just can't tell you how nice it is that so many kind people are like, oh, I love your stuff, and I've been reading your stuff since I was like 12. Thanks, now I feel really old.
I'll make sure I won't say that then.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. So no, it's a great show, and I really enjoy it, and the people have been just so wonderful. But isn't that astounding? Kerberos stuff. So this means, and actually, when it comes right down to it, some of my best talks have always been, go find it, drill down to the bare metal, do the talk. Like for example, I have a talk that I really love. I've been pitching every year. Can't get anybody to take it here because I think it's because the SQL guys don't know me. It's called the Accidental DBA.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
And the reason, because about 10 years ago, Microsoft started giving away. They always give away great free IT Pro stuff. Shows up. And do you ever play with ultrasound?
Yes.
Okay, so the idea, for those who don't know, is that if your domain controllers, if the sysvol, which does group policies largely, gets disconnected, you're in some deep doo-doo.
You're hurting. Yes.
Okay? And ultrasound is this great thing that checks to make sure that that the water's flowing. Needs a database. You have to have a SQL database at the back end. So I said, I'm not playing with that. But more and more and more, SharePoint needs one. WSS needs one. I realized, you know what? I'm going to be a SQL administrator whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
And so I sat down. And I spent like 3 months doing nothing but understanding MSDE. I learned enough T-SQL because MSDE, which is the free version of SQL, and SQL Server Express Edition 2005, SQL Server
2008. Yep.
Yeah, no GUI on those guys.
Right.
Well, if you got to do command line stuff, I'm your guy. So
yes,
if you're using OSQL or SQL command or something like that. So I learned there were about 25 scenarios. How do I create a table? How do I destroy a table? How do I create a database, drop a table, change security? How do I back a database up? How to restore it? And I figured those guys out, and I put them into a newsletter called the Accidental DBA. It's for those of us who have to become SQL administrators. Because as you recall, when SQL Slammer came out, that's what really got me thinking about it, was that, I discovered I was a DBA, and I didn't even know it, because I had SQL.
It's not just the box that's sitting in the corner of the data center that nobody goes around, right?
Exactly.
Except for the guy with the long hair and the code.
Exactly. Exactly. So I thought I got to learn this, and that's newsletter number 49 on my site, and it is one of the 3 most downloaded I've ever done. So I turned it into a talk. It's 92 slides. You're doing 75 minutes, and I'm hoping one of these days to get it to TechEd. But in any case, it's a lot of fun. It's just anyway. To answer your question, it turns out drilling down to the bottom, you can actually find a few people that are interested in listening to it. And again, thank you if you're one of the people that saw it. Thank you.
So Mark, just go ahead and shameless self-promote and give us the link to your site and what you've got going on now. What's new? What's happening?
So I was fortunate enough that in Barcelona, some of your guys said, hey, at TechEd we need a pre-con about Windows 7. I'm like, okay. They said, you want to do it? I said, me? Do you know who you're talking to? So I have done nothing but squeeze all the juice out of Server 2008 R2 and Windows 7. But you know what? Here's the bad news. It doesn't want any books anymore. So I'm going to write a smaller book. 450 to 500 pages it's everything new. It's like, this is the new thing. This is who cares.
You mean it's not your normal like 3,000-pound thing that I have up on my shelf?
There's no money in it. It really is. I mean, it would take me 3 years, and I would make $5,000 in royalties. You know, so I can't. It's a terrible shame because I love building the Bible. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but this is just going to be a Delta book, but I hope to make it light and fun. It'll just be okay. This is what it is. Does anyone care? No one but Microsoft, or yes, everyone cares. Some scenarios where you'd want to use it, some worked out examples, and any tips and tricks or fun stuff that I figured out. So I think I can get that done in 3-4 months.
Okay.
I'm going to start doing my class. I will have a special Delta class on Windows 7 and a Delta class on Server 2008. They're both 2-day classes, but what's fun is I'm going to Server 2008 too. Thank you. And the way I'm going to do it is that I'm actually going to make it 3 days. Because the first day will be just client, the second day will be for both, so the server guys show up then, and then the last day will be server only. And so that way I'll have a nice little 3-day module, and good Lord willing and the dam don't break, then
exactly.
I'll get that all done. But it's always good to talk to you, sir.
And you just, where can people find you?
www.minasi, that's minasi.com.
Thanks, Mark, for your time. I appreciate it, man.
Take care, man.
All right.